Alright, hello everybody, hello. Welcome to week 2. I made good on my promise, didn't I? I didn't lie. I made a promise I was going to be here next week, and I am here next week. We got a few things to go through, not nearly as much stuff as last time. It's not going to be an hour and a half long. I'm actually kind of aghast that video ended up being an hour and a half long. I'm also kind of surprised that YouTube even let me upload an hour and a half video because my channel is brand new. Either way, this stuff y'all are going to notice is brand new. And we're gonna get straight into it. So, first, actually, okay, I know I just said we're gonna get straight into it, but we're gonna look at something else first. So this is a brand new system that I thought of, where we're gonna have a ton of different gemstones, and I mean a ton. I maybe won't make all of these, but I want to make like most of them. Excuse me. I want to make most of them. And some of these included in this folder are the actual gemstones that I'm making to have effects on the enchantments. But for the most part, most of these other gemstones won't have an effect on the enchantment system. And that's just because there's too many, and it would be too hard, and I would have to come up with really weird niche enchantment ideas to make an enchantment for all of these. So what I'm gonna end up doing is excuse me, I'm going to create all of these different gemstones. Again, only a few are gonna have the enchantments like I listed out on the spreadsheet last week. I haven't changed any of that. And then all of the ones that don't have an effect on the enchantment are gonna sort of be in that decorative category. And I'm going to try to make all of the gemstones in the decorative category a little bit more rare. And that's only because there's so many of them. If all of these had the similar rarity, it would probably end up being pretty easy to find one of these decorative gemstones. Because even if they're all super duper rare, there's so many that could spawn. Again, you're just pretty much guaranteed to find some. So, I'm going to make all of these decorative gemstones a lot rarer. It's also nice because they don't impact the gameplay. People are going to complain that, oh, it's so rare, I have to grind so much to find this thing that is going to impact the gameplay or whatever, because it won't. And then, in addition to that, I also want to include, I guess, biome-specific or location-specific, depth-specific, ooh, that's a hard one, tongue twister. Depth specific. It's because you end up you go from depth to so is a hard whatever oh my god, depth specific gemstone generation, and that means to say I want to create like I guess real world counterparts to the gemstones in terms of their generation. So if this is just an example, but imagine purpurite only actually purpurite's a terrible example. Purpurite I'm gonna have generate in the end just because it's purpurite. Come on, let's say prosite. It's prositite. I can't say anything nowadays. Prositite. We're gonna have prositite generate in the swamp biome because normally in the real world prositite generates in the Everglades. Or it's in, bogs and swamps. And so I'll try and just recreate the real life generation requirements in Minecraft with the biome spawning. And then another way that I'm going to have to do this is I'm going to have to create structures to spawn the gemstones. So, and let me explain why I have to do that. I can't have them generate like ores just because MCreator doesn't give me enough flexibility around how to generate them as ores. These are the only options I have. So I can say it can't replace a certain number of blocks. It can only spawn in certain biomes. Generation shape, this doesn't matter. The issue is average number of ores per chunk. I can't make this like 0.5. It won't let me, and it'll reset to 10 if I go to someone else. I can only set it to 1 at the lowest. Can't set it to below 1. And the issue with that is that means that every single one of these will, at the very least, spawn once per chunk. And like I was saying earlier, if these all have a similar rarity, because there's so many of them, it's going to be pretty easy to find them. And having one of every single one of these per chunk, it's not going to feel rare enough. And then again, like, even if I set this to 1, I can't set this to 0.5. So that's the issue. So what we have to do is we have to do it using structures, which I haven't quite figured out yet just how to do it. I know that I can, but it's just a big hassle because I have to use structure blocks. I have to actually go into the game, build the structure, use structure blocks to save the structure. And structure blocks, I'm not sure if any of y'all have ever used them. They're just kind of a hassle. They're kind of finicky. To the Mojang devs' credit, though, it's kind of hard to create a system that is intuitive when you're trying to create like a Minecraft structure where you have to set the bounds and whatnot. I mean, they could have made it a little more user-friendly, but they did their best either way. Some of my nose. I think my allergies are kicking in. Fall allergies are getting to me. Anyways, but that's the system sort of summed up a little bit. Now I want to show y'all the very few specific examples that I have of the gemstone system at work. So we've got, this is the sandstone geode. Sandstone geode is going to be the actual thing that spawns in the world. And then these other blocks, these ones won't spawn in the real world, but when you mine this, pick it up, whatever, you'll take it back to your base and then use a stone cutter to cut it open. And that's how you would get these. And the difference between these two, let me explain my system. And it'll make more sense if you look at the name of the item. So this one, and obviously this won't be the in-game name, this is just the name of it for the time being so that I know what block is what and what's the difference between this and that and the other when I'm making the creator stuff. But this geode, or I guess, yeah, this block is a geode. Its main material or base material is sandstone. Its size is small. The gemstone that it has is quartz. And then the type of cut, or it's cut versus not cut. The type of cut is a flat cut, so it just kind of cuts it straight up and down. And then the type of gemstone inside is druzy, the quality is cloudy, and then the amount is minor. So druzy, what that means is instead of having like a crystal, or I guess I'll go to the folder to sort of give an example, but like this isn't druzy. This is more of like a crystal. Let's see if I can find it. And then I guess this is a little bit closer to a druzy, where it's not a single crystal. It's more like you've got a lot of small crystals that kind of cover a surface. And so this is me trying to kind of trying to create that. Although this one, I don't know if I'm using the right terminology or not, but I'm trying to more create this kind of effect where it's almost kind of flat plastered over top of the rock surface, as opposed to this one where you can kind of see the crystals are kind of sort of poking out and up from the rock surface. For this example, I'm trying to kind of create a smooth covering of the surface, because normally quartz, if quartz were a druzy, it would have sort of these bits poking out, sort of little crystals, but they would sort of still be crystals that are poking up and out. And so I'm not sure what to call this. I'm sure if I call it druzy, that's wrong. But I'm doing my best. Anyways, the system though, obviously with all of these different modifiers, we'll have some crystals that aren't geodes, that are just like more like this, that are actual crystals on rocks. We'll have some that are, I don't know if I can find an example, here we go, that are just the crystal itself. We'll have some with multiple sort of points. We'll have some with only a single point. And the idea behind that, let me set it today, is just trying to create a ton of variety. And I also feel that that will help to sort of build the feeling of uniqueness when you find an item, I guess. Because what I want to avoid is I want to avoid having a quartz crystal, having a topaz crystal, having a citrine crystal, and like as you find more, it's like, okay, I can place this same crystal multiple times, but I can't, or I don't know, it doesn't feel as special. And it also feels a little bit less concrete, I guess, less unique. Concrete, I don't know if that's the right word. I'm searching for the right word. I can't quite grasp it, but I feel like it's just not as much fun if, especially as I'm mining and I find maybe like a big geode where there's like multiple blocks, but like the crystals are all the same. Like I want to create a lot of variety between and behind the crystals, just that way so that the player feels a little sense of discovery, but then also like these gemstones are special. Like it's not like anyone else could have found these gemstones, and obviously anyone can find these gemstones, but maybe it feels like these are like so special and unique that it's like it's my gemstone, and it's like, I don't know, a little more special. I'm kind of droning on at this point. I don't really know what I'm talking about. Either way, point is, I'm basically going to have geodes, like a ton of different geodes that are different base materials, different sizes, different gemstones, different types of cut, flat, enclosed, diagonal, etc. Different types of gemstone, like the druzy, non-druzy, crystal, whatever. Different visibilities and different amounts. And that way, it'll just create a bit of variety. Beyond that, my plans for next week, obviously this one's broken. I don't know quite how to fix it. Or actually, no, I do know how to fix it. And I'll show y'all in Blockbench what's actually going on. So the issue that we're dealing with is that we are transparency in Minecraft kind of sucks. Or, I mean, I don't know if it sucks. It's probably really hard to do in all video games, but the issue is, because I can't actually create triangles in Minecraft, I have to create rectangles and just have the rectangle not, or it's really hard to like maneuver my camera, but have the rectangle just sort of poke into this solid wall so that you can't see the rest of the rectangle. And the issue with that is when I'm making things that are transparent, and actually I have to go to spectator mode for y'all to be able to see, but it makes it so that you can kind of see through. You see, you can barely see it, but you see how you can see through? You can see the trees right there in the middle of the screen on the top of that one crystal in the back. That's because what's happening is this is sort of jutting into this wall, and if this crystal is in like transparent, it's in transparency mode, it will let you see through anything that it intersects with. And so, like I said, my issue is I am having this rectangle intersect with this wall, so you actually get to see through. My solution to that is right over here. What I can do is I can just duplicate this. I'm not going to do it because it's just, I'm trying to keep this model as standardized as possible, but I would duplicate this and then half it. The plus side is that it won't actually change the way the texture looks, and then it still looks like a solid pixel. This little line that you see in Blockbench, you actually won't be able to see it in Minecraft. Like you can't see the seam lines on the model. It's just, the stitching issue, it's not there. So don't worry about this line in the middle. And then what that will do basically is it gives it makes it harder for the crystal to make it through. So obviously this rectangle, I'm going to make it smaller because it doesn't need to be that big. It really only needs to be, oh, I'm not pressing the right one, am I? There we go. So let me just make sure I can see how it looks. So we can at least shrink it this much, and then also this much. So now, because it is intersecting with this first one, but it's not intersecting with this second one, it shouldn't let light through. And obviously, also, I kind of mess up the transparency. They're not actually that transparent anymore. Especially you can see in game. Like, you can kind of see through a little bit, but then also, I mean, the issue is, if you really look carefully, you can obviously see through the bottom of those, but then you can also see the non-textured side of this one crystal right here next to the yellow one, which isn't great. But again, those are sort of all the kinks that I'm gonna have to iron out with this system. I'm also, I'm just learning how to use Blockbench for the first time, so, you know, still got the training wheels on, but hopefully we could start to get going here. Anyways, that's kind of about it, I guess. So, actually, I kind of wanted to do a little outro here. My idea for next week, what I'm gonna do is obviously try and fix this issue with the texture not. Whoa, why am I so fast? Try to fix this issue with the texture not working. And let's just head back into creative mode so I can do the outro properly. I also want to figure out the not ore generation. I guess it's structure generation for this geode, just as a proof of concept, so that I can copy and paste that idea going forward. Like I said, fix this texture, and then try and create all of the different variants for just the small sandstone quartz geode. So all the different cuts, all the different transparencies, all the different amounts, all the different styles of gemstone. Either way, though, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you liked the video, relatively straightforward. If you're new around these parts, hit that big red button at the bottom right hand of your screen. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next episode. Thanks for watching. Classic outro.